Hello, back out again on a lovely frosty morning. So today on my own, I am doing number 9 in the top 12 landowners of the South Downs National Park. So number 9 is a place called Barlavington Estate, Barlaving. It's a step up from the ones I've done so far. 3,200 acres, owned by the Anstruther family, and I'll talk a bit more about that later. Let's give you a spin round. Near, or actually I think I'm at a place called Lord's Peace, which has, I believe, the only field crickets, I'll double check, left in the country, and it's sort of preserved, and they're hoping they'll keep them and grow them, not literally, but keep them on the land. Yeah, let's spin back. So for the keen-eyed, you might have noticed I'm very close to the one I did in Bignor a while ago, because the two estates, I believe, adjoin each other. They're very close. So yeah, I am going to head through the Barlavington Estate. I am heading towards the town of Barlavington. We'll see how we do, but I will let you know more in a minute. I'll push on and then I'll give you some details. Okay, I am a bit further on towards Barlavington, right in the thick of the woods. There was a controlled fire back then. Didn't see anyone there, but it was completely separate from the woods. So I thought I'd tell you first of all a bit of history of the estate itself, before I tell you about the family that currently owns it. So obviously I mentioned there is a village of Barlavington, population 117 in 2001. Again, that would have been the local workers for the Lord. That's the way most of these little villages on the estate started. Right, so what I can tell, it's quite tricky finding information, but it seems to be that it was originally part of the estates of the Earls of Arundel. Surprise, surprise. If you look at my first video, they owned a massive chunk of Sussex. And from what I can gather, it looked like it was part of an estate parish connected to North Meldon. So yeah, the manor of Barlavington, which would normally be a manor, including the estate, was separately identified in a document of 1318. So it was recognised as an entity by then. I'll just stop for a second, I'm trying to get through stuff. So they think Barlavington comes from the Saxon name Bjornlaf's Farm. Tun was either house, farm, settlement. So yeah, a lot of the places around here have Saxon names in their origins. And then obviously before that, as I've mentioned before, so I'm struggling with my polls. Obviously before that you had the Romans. So I think I mentioned on my first segment that the estate has the last population of the UK's field crickets. And I've read something really interesting about the current owner and how he and his dad, found they were still living and they're doing their best to help them to thrive. So that was quite interesting. And I'll probably talk about this a bit, but the person who bought this land, and I'll talk about that when I come to the owners, in 1956, basically was someone who loved walking on the downs, and he literally ripped down loads of keep out stuff, opened up tons of the estate to the public so they could enjoy the walks as well, which I thought was really nice. I don't know if many landowners do that. They're usually the opposite way around, not all of them. So yeah, that's a little bit about the history of the estate. So I'll talk a bit more about who owns it, etc. in a little while. But yeah, I'm still in the thick of the woods. So I've stopped walking and talking because I'm about to go, don't know if you can see it, I'm about to go over a bridge there, so I don't really, not a big one, I don't really want to be negotiating that and walking at the same time. So what I'll do is I'll catch you in a little bit, and I'll talk a bit more about the family and who owns it. Whew, a bit further on, not quite at the village of Barlavington yet, but I thought I'd talk about a bit about the history of the owners. So, the current owner is someone called Sir Sebastian Anstruther, 9th Baronet of Balcaski and 11th Baronet of Anstruther. And yeah, I think I mentioned I've read a bit about him, and he's very keen on protecting the countryside, which is fantastic. There's some good stuff about what he was doing. He also did want to create some sort of industrial sand thing, but that never happened. But that aside, I heard he's good. He was born 1962 and he inherited the estate in 2007. The actual estate was bought by this family by his father in 1956. So unlike some of the other ones, it's a pretty new owner. So it was bought by his father, who's called Ian Anstruther, and I think I mentioned, basically he loved walking on the downs every day. He used to come down here, and I presume he liked it so much, a bit like Remington Steele, if you remember him, he thought he'd buy the estate, which he did. And I think that goes back to what I said about the good things, is he loved being outdoors, and he opened up a lot of the estate, got rid of, I was reading, his son wrote this article about it, and he basically said his dad ripped down all the keep out, well, not all, but the keep out signs, and opened up a hell of a lot. Hence I'm walking around here now. I don't know how much was footpaths before, but it's good. He was keen on public being able to access this beautiful land. So as I said, yeah, he used to go for a walk on the downs or around here every day. He was quite fastidious in what he did. And he's a writer, and apparently he wrote 8 books, I do believe. So yeah, so his son, Sir Sebastian, inherited the estate. Interestingly enough, his eldest child from his first marriage was a daughter called Emily Kate Campbell Anstruther, and she went on to have 2 sons and 2 daughters. But it was the son that inherited the estate. There's a story in that I'll talk about, but these estates tend to pass, or have historically passed, the oldest son. I'm sure he left something to his daughter as well. So that's really about it. There wasn't tons of stuff I could find, because pre that, as I say, it's a bit vague about the estate, the Barlavington Estate, but as I say, it goes back to the Earls of Arundel. Anyway, what I am doing is I'm going to push on. I'll hopefully give you a bit of footage from the town of Barlavington village, but yeah, carry on. Okay, I'm at Barlavington and I'm at the church, so I shall spin you around. Oh, look at the church. I think it's called St Mary's. It's tiny. Honestly, this place, a lot of building work going on here, but some sort of big barn. Honestly, I came down here, which is almost a dirt track around some farm buildings, and I was thinking, is this village just off a dirt track? Like, no road to get in. I was thinking, oh God, it looks pretty cut off, but there's a main road up there. Well, main road, there's a tarmac, drivable road. Not I'm saying this isn't, well, would be drivable. Anyway, yeah, this is the whole place. It looks like a farm building, something like that. There's housing over there. Anyway, I won't ramble for too long. I just wanted to show you the church. I haven't checked this time, so I've got no idea if it's open, but I can see a bench for lunch. Let's have a look. Look at some of the dates here. 1924. It is really small. Just having a quick look. Yeah, housing there. So yeah, ooh, what a lovely little village. Now, shall we see if it's open? Everyone so far has been. Let's have a look. Well, hey, I don't know if anyone's in it. Barlavington. some leaflets. I'll get one in a minute. No, it's empty. Wow. I tell you what, if you watch some of my videos, I don't plan church walks, but I do end up going to a lot of churches. That's because I find myself in villages. Oh, interesting. That plaque there, I know it's a bit dark. It's Ian 5 Campbell Anstruther. He was the dad of Sebastian, who owns the estate now. And he was the one who bought the estate. Author, patron of the arts, long-serving church warden, and generous benefactor. There you go. Just thought I'd show you. Yeah, I'm gonna have something to eat and then I'll head off back. What I'll do is I shall check, as I hadn't necessarily planned to come here, I just saw there was a church again. So I'll get a few facts and chuck them up on the screen. But yeah, just thought it'd be interesting. It looks very old, I imagine it is. One last thing. These churches, you tend to find the little villages that were the workers on the estate, and then there's a church. And originally, you go back to Saxon times, you tend to find that the Lord's house was next to the church. And then as time went on, basically now you tend to find there's a big manor in its own grounds separate from the village, because the lords tended to want their privacy and move out a bit. Hence, you tend to find the manor houses a bit further away from the churches, whereas originally they were next to them. But there you go. Right, I will stop rambling now. I think that's enough. Yeah, lovely little church. As I say, I'll stick some facts up and I'll push on now, and I'll catch you probably in the car, unless I find anything interesting on the way. Okay. Okay, back in the car. Ooh, I got a few miles in after I went to the church. But yeah, this isn't about that. It's about Barlavington Estate. So, out of interest, one thing, I saw one person at the beginning, cyclist. Didn't see a single other person. I mean, apart from maybe I saw some people, I went through 3 villages, apart from people around the car park. So yeah, that's dead quiet, right? It's winter, 0 degrees, but if you're wrapped up. Anyway, yeah, interesting estate. So that's number 9. Obviously number 8 next. So watch this space for the next one. But yeah, it's really nice. There's loads of places to walk, and it was great. All right, catch you for the next one. Bye.